Hey guys, so really quickly before I start this video, I just want to ask you guys a question. I'm going to be asking you guys a few questions throughout the next few videos to try and figure out what story you guys want to hear. So the first one is going to be, would you prefer a fan fiction or an original work by me? I'm really excited to read one of my stories to you guys, but I want to know that it's going to be one that you guys are going to like. So you guys get to vote in the comments and let me know. Alright, start the video. How do you start one of these stories? It's another fine day in Equestria. It's a dark and stormy night in Equestria. No, that's not right. There has to be some other way to start this story without it being a cliché. This particular story deserves an introduction more appropriate. So much occurred that just starting off with a line like, "Once upon a time," just seems degrading. How do I make it work? Celestia's sun was high in the sky, and the citizens of Ponyville partook in their communal duties. Nope. I feel like I've read that line before, many times in fact. Luna's moon produced a radiant glow upon the quiet Ponyville. Nah, that doesn't look right either. Oh, I've got it. How about this? Spike and Rainbow Dash were friends. Yeah, I like it better now. Anyway, Spike and Rainbow Dash were friends. Good friends, in fact. Besides the truth that the two were tied to the elements of harmony, they also had many common likes and interests. Both had a grand sense of humor, and that fact had definitely aided in bringing the dragon and the Pegasus closer together. Pranks and teasing amongst each other became the norm in social outings. Jokes and gossip had left them snickering to themselves behind the backs of their friends. It was all good, innocent fun, and the two appreciated the amount of normalcy produced through their mutual output. Their friendship was easy to understand and make sense thereof. Spike would amuse himself by calling out to a speeding Rainbow Dash, in which she would make aware of how awesome she looked when her mane left a glittering rainbow trail, but would then comment on the possibility of said trail just being an extended passing of colorful gas. Rainbow Dash would enjoy making Spike flush in embarrassment, in which she would intermittently tease him about its painfully apparent crush on one white unicorn. Then she would hint at spoiling the young dragon's affections to said unicorn. Of course, though frequent frivolous acts between the pair ensued, Spike and Rainbow Dash cared for each other. Through thick and thin, the two had fought and experienced, learnt and grew. Their bond only strengthened at each passing day, for no obstacle had proven efficient enough to halt the progress of development. It was a relationship that shouted durability, a formidable adversary to those who threatened to interrupt the sweetness and purity. It never seemed as if anything could come between them. They were just too cool to let anything get in their way, or so they thought. Because unbeknownst to Spike and Rainbow Dash, something was heading for them, straight and steady. An idea, one might call it, gradually encroaching upon their playful haven. This entity was no slouch either. It was strong, and it was about ready to begin the slow consumption of their friendship. Frightening, some label it. Maddening, most agree. Omnipotent, so all assume. Far sooner than later, it was coming, and it didn't plan on ceasing its plans for domination. What was it, you ask? Well, isn't it obvious? It was love. Scratch that. It wasn't specifically love itself, but more like the idea of love. The idea of love was prepared to play with Spike and Rainbow Dash. The result of such preparation wasn't pretty all mark, though, in all truth, there was more than enough entertainment to sift through. Check it out. Oh, what I'd do to jump on her bones, Snips whispered surreptitiously to his companions. She's hot. What do you think, Snails? Yeah, she's hot. I think her friend's cuter, though, Snails commented, directing his attention to the pale cream mare. Bonbon? Snips looked up to Snails incredulously. Yeah, she's okay, but Lila's way hotter. Whatever, I still think Bonbon's prettier. Snail said, staring at the two mares chatting with each other at a distance. I don't know why. She just has this way about her, the way she trots. What do you think, Spike? Snips nudged the dragon beside him. Who's hotter? You gotta admit it's Lyra. No way, Spike knows it's Bon Bon, Snails assured. I don't know about that, Snails. I've always had a thing for horns. Spike rubbed his chin in contemplation. Ha! Told you, he's got the hots for unicorns, like Lyra. Snips pointed a hoof at the turquoise unicorn. However, I am attracted to light-colored coats. Spike continued his musing. Bon Bon wins that round, Snips. Snails nodded, grinning. It seems like he's just thinking about another mare. Some pony rare, I'd say. Rainbow Dash smiled coyly and eyed Spike mischievously. Dash! Spike gasped, flustered. Some pony rare? What does that mean? Confused, Snips turned to Snails, who shrugged in response. Two unicorns, a Pegasus, and a dragon lounged lazily at a table in Ponyville. The weekly Sunday's farmers' market was crowded with many consumers from all parts of the surrounding area. Ponies, mules, and griffins alike shopped to their heart's content, enjoying the pleasures of picking out fresh, organic food products provided by the local community. As the economically stimulating activity ensued, the four friends sat and discussed trivial matters of the male appetite, mares. The topic of mares was always brought up when Spike and his guy pals, Snips and Snails, convened together for socialization, yet at this moment Rainbow Dash had entered the circle for an unexpected intervention. The Pegasus did not mind what the three had to offer in conversation, whether it involved mares or otherwise. She was used to giving her own input on the matters of females and attractions. Snips, Snails, and Spike found Rainbow Dash's presence to be both ironic and comforting. This was not the first time she decided to butt into their huddled discussions, and they knew it would probably not be the last. They were now accustomed to listening to Rainbow Dash's personal opinions of the matters accounted for, and although the reception was initially met with surprise, the two colts and dragon welcomed Mare's perspective. No longer did the three male buddies find hindrance in the mind's view of Dash. In fact, they welcomed it. She was a friend they could confide in when befuddled by the actions of a fellow mare. And although the advice, thoughts, and ramblings from Rainbow Dash were interesting sources for social growth, Snip, Snails, and Spike always wondered about her sexual orientation. Was Rainbow Dash actually a lesbian? She didn't really have a problem talking about mares with the guys. Was her rainbow pattern mane an actual representation of her sexuality? The irony seemed baffling, yet the concept of it all was not too far-fetched. Come on, Spike, no need to hide it anymore, Rainbow Dash giggled teasingly. Every pony already knows. Knows about what? Snails asked, still not comprehending the underlying message behind Rainbow Dash's words. Rainbow Dash laughed aloud. Well, except for these two, of course. Dash, stop it! Spike waved his arms frantically. What's she going on about? Snip scrunched an eyebrow in confusion as the dragon quivered nervously. Nothing. She's just saying stupid stuff. Pay no mind. Spike replied heatedly. Yeah, pay no mind. Rainbow Dash put a hoof to her head, sticking out a tongue to her fuming Spike. But yeah, if you asked me, Lyra's the better looking one. No pony asked you, Spike said through gritted teeth. I win. Take that, Snails. Lyra Heartstrings is hotter. Snip shouted in victory. Nuh-uh, Spike was going to say Bon Bon's hotter, so it's a tie. Snails shook his head fervently. Hey, not so loud, Rainbow Dash hissed as she ducked her head. Spike looked in the direction of the two subjects of exchange, and noticed both Lyra and Bon Bon shooting glares in the group's general direction. Due to Snip's and Snail's projected outcries for the mare's competing attractiveness, half of the passerby in the market found them to be the victim of many a curious glance or raised eyebrow. While a few ignored the group at the table, many stopped what they were doing to glance around quizzically. Lyra and Bon Bon, however, were not too pleased to be the center of the gossip. Oh, they're coming over here, Spike squeaked in a panic. What? Oh no, not good. Snips attempted to duck under the table, but just got stuck in beneath the sofa's top and the bench seat. Play it cool. Just play it cool. Just play it cool, guys. Rainbow Dash tried to calm down her panicking companions. Rainbow Dash considered bailing on the three and camping in the clouds a few meters away. It was not her fault her friends couldn't lower their voices appropriately. She didn't need to be there in the first place. Oh no, Rainbow Dash, you're not leaving. Spike quickly grabbed the Pegasus's hoof. What's going to stop me? Rainbow Dash struggled to be released by Spike's iron claw grip. Spike smirked mischievously. You're the element of loyalty, remember? You gotta stay and be loyal, right? Rainbow Dash considered his proposal for a few moments before coming to a conclusion. No, you're the new me. Be loyal to yourself. Too late. Snails trembled helplessly as Lyra and Bonbon walked up to the table. You four are really loud. Bonbon spoke first, taking priority to address Snips and Snails with an aggressive gaze. Seriously, what's with you guys? Do you just spend all your time fantasizing over mirrors or something? Said Lyra. Snips and Snails shuddered in fear and embarrassment. Never before had they been confronted by the objects of their fantasies. In turn, Spike tried to ease the situation with a few wise words. We apologize for the rudeness, ladies. We're just here to relax and enjoy the day. Spike glanced up at the cloudy sky, hoping they would accept his apology without issue. What about you? Bonbon turned her scowl to Spike. We know you're always talking about us behind our backs. Truthfully, it's just disgusting. Huh? Spike was knocked back by the term disgusting. You're a dragon, aren't you? Time and time again, you're leering at us with a perverted smile. Let's be honest, it's not like you could actually get with any one of us. How would that even work? It's pretty messed up when you think about it. Lyra dropped bricks on Spike's dragon hood. Oops, I read that in Bonbon's voice. Spike was both shocked and appalled by Lyra and Bonbon's collective sentiments. Snips, Snails, and Spike seemed to shrivel into themselves in shame. To Rainbow Dash they looked pathetic and pitiable, yet they were her friends, and, as the loyal element she was destined to symbolize, she brought her chest up in defense. Hey, leave them alone. They weren't hurting any pony. All they were doing was complimenting your looks. Rainbow Dash secured the last remaining ounce of dignity at the table. Lyra scoffed. And what exactly are you doing with them? It's not the first time either. She's probably also talking about us, Bonbon added. More like checking us out. I never thought you'd be that way, Rainbow Dash, but I guess the rumors must be true. Lyra inched closer threateningly. What rumors? Rainbow Dash continued to fortify the table with a counter glare. Snip, Snails, and Spike knew what was coming. They'd heard the rumors about Rainbow Dash's mysterious sexual orientation. It was actually a recurring topic of discussion amongst the male community of Ponyville. They were surprised themselves that the male herself was oblivious to the rumors. In the end, there was an agreement that no pony would ask in order to avoid an unexpected reaction. Until now, Rainbow Dash had remained at peace with herself, and the rest of them were satisfied with the ignorance, though now it seemed two mares were going to bring light to everything. Oh, don't tell me you don't know. Isn't it obvious? You're a lesbian, right? Rainbow Dash felt like she had been smacked upside the head with a shovel. That was the absolute last thing she had expected to come out of the mare's mouth. A lesbian? What were they talking about? Things needed to be set straight once and for all. I'm not a lesbian, Rainbow Dash stated simply, a smile flickering across her mouth before her eyebrows scrunched up in disbelief. That's not what we heard. Lyra turned to her best friend for confirmation. You don't have to hide it. We all knew it was true since forever. Makes sense. Not only are you, Bonbon started, but you're always hanging out with the colts and probably ogling with the mares with them. What does that mean, me being me? Rainbow Dash's face contorted in frustration. "And who cares if I hang out with the guys? They're my friends. I can befriend any pony I want." "Whatever," Lyra shook her head nonchalantly. "No pony really cares. Just stop giving us those depraved looks already." "Depraved? I'll show you depraved!" Rainbow Dash burst, allowing her composure to dwindle. "I may have saved Equestria whatever many times already, but you guys can be sure I'll leave you two in the dust next time." Lyra and Bonbon were taken aback by Rainbow Dash's eruption. Looking behind themselves, they noticed most of the market-goers were now taking frequent glances over at the table. There was no doubt they were alarmed by Rainbow Dash's outburst. Spike realized the tense atmosphere was only getting tenser, so he decided to buck up and stand atop the table for a seize of arms. "Okay, every pony just needs to calm down. Nothing good is going to come from bullying and threats." Spike had all three mares' attention. "We're all friends here. Come on, where's the peace?" Lyra and Bonbon stepped back as a pair. "We're leaving already," Bonbon said, rolling her eyes. "Just stop behaving like dirty perverts." Lyra turned to walk off, followed by Bonbon. "Where do you think you're going? Get back here and say it to my face!" Rainbow Dash shouted after them. Spike took the necessary measures and grabbed Rainbow Dash's tail as she rocketed herself towards the escaping mares. The young dragon's feet dragged across the table as he was pulled to its edge. Good thing he dug his claw nails into the wood to keep himself from flying at a tremendous speed. Throughout it all, Snips and Snails stared dumbly as Dash wriggled and fought Spike's grasp. "Guys, a little help, please," Spike hissed as his grip on the Pegasus's tail weakened. "Duh, yeah." Snips and Snails leaped forward to assist Spike with restraining Rainbow Dash. "Let go of me!" Rainbow Dash roared, flapping her wings furiously. "Dash, you need to calm down," Spike grunted, hanging on as if his life depended on it. "You're better than us. We all know you're straight." Yeah, you're as straight as on, what was it?" Snips looked to Snails for assistance. Straight as an ostrich's neck?" Snails guessed. "Yeah, you're as straight as an ostrich's neck," Snips finished, squeezing his eyes tightly. Rainbow Dash sighed as she slowed down the flapping of her wings. She knew it wasn't worth fighting over something so trifling. Spike was right. She was better than this. Rainbow Dash hovered back over to her original seat at the table once Spike, Snips, and Snails finally released her tail. By this point, the rest of the surrounding guests had returned to their shop activities. "It's straight as an arrow," Rainbow Dash sighed. "And it's not that. I just hate being so disrespected." "You and me both, sister." Spike and the two colts reseated themselves, relieved by the lack of further confrontation between Rainbow Dash and the two opposing mares. Finally relaxing once again, the three chuckled to alleviate any rigidity left by such a stressful moment. "Dash, you really scared me back there. I really thought you were going to tackle them." Spike smiled wryly. "Gotta admit it, though, it would have been a sight to see," Snips joked. "I probably would have if you hadn't stopped me." Rainbow Dash crossed her arms. "Grabbing onto my tail like that? I was about ready to take you guys with me." "They have no idea what they're talking about, Dash. Forget them." Spike reassured Rainbow Dash. "They aren't so attractive either if you ask me." "And they're still kind of hot to me, but I wouldn't fall in love with some pony like that," Snails pondered to himself. "Yeah, I'd fall in love with somebody who can understand a guy's needs," Snips added. "Good luck with that," Rainbow Dash simpered, swimming a hoof through her unkempt mane. "Finding a mare to understand you guys would be a miracle." "Look who's talking," Spike pointed to Rainbow Dash. "You're here, aren't you?" "Ha, that's different." Rainbow Dash laughed to herself. "I'm just more mature than the rest of those girls. They're too conservative for their own good. Ponies just need to chillax." "If only the other males could think like that." Snails laid his head flat on the table. "A lesbian, as if!" Rainbow Dash frowned, as if she remembered why she had gotten so angry in the first place. "Of course I'm straight. You guys knew that, right?" There was only silence. Spike, Snips, and Snails had no idea how to respond to Rainbow Dash's inquiry. Should they lie? How does a friend avoid another volcanic outbreak? Spike gulped. Well, Dash, it's a funny thing because Snips gulped. We kind of thought that Snails gulped, picking his head back up. Yeah. Rainbow Dash craned her neck over the table. You guys too? We didn't really know, actually. We knew you were tomboyish, but you always did hang out with us, Spike said hurriedly. But we didn't care whether you were straight or not. Now we know, though. Snips and Snails nodded feverishly. Rainbow Dash did not quite know how to react. She could kind of see why some would misunderstand her behavior. She did not feel betrayed, but she was not satisfied either. She wondered who else thought she was attracted to females. Sure, she was never interested in any males around her, but she knew for a fact that she was just attracted to the opposite sex. What just happened? Sorry guys, something just happened. I don't know what, but somehow it scrolled down a lot suddenly. So, she wondered who else thought she was attracted to females. Sure, she was never interested in any males around her, but she knew for a fact that she was attracted to the opposite sex. Just because she was strong-willed, independent, and could find humor in hanging with the guys, didn't mean she was a lesbian. She knew this, and she desired for her friends to understand as well. Well, I'm definitely straight. Rainbow Dash sat back. Do you have any pony you like? Snips asked without much thought. Spike elbowed Snips, snickering. I feel sorry for that colt. What's that supposed to mean? Rainbow Dash blinked. You'd be hard to handle, Dash. Spike grinned to himself. That's why I'm always looking at more feminine mares. Me too. Me too. Snails wore a love-struck expression as he spotted a gray-colored Pegasus fly straight into a nearby mailbox. I could be more girly if I wanted to. I just choose not to, Rainbow Dash argued. Sure, Dash, whatever you say. Spike dismissed Rainbow Dash's statement. Hey, I'm being serious here. In fact, I bet I could make even you fall in love with me. Rainbow Dash uncrossed her arms. Spike was amused by such a ridiculous declaration. Not possible. No offense, but you're not my type. Well, you're not my type either, but I bet I can be as attractive as any male here. Rainbow Dash motioned to their environs. I'm sorry, Dash, I'm not budging on this. There's no way you'd find me ever falling for you. Spike cackled, rendering Rainbow Dash gaping. Oh, yeah? Rainbow Dash cooed with a twinkle in her eye. I'm going to have fun seeing you fall head over heels for me. Wait, what are we talking about now? Snips kept looking back to Rainbow Dash and Spike. Like I said, not gonna happen. Spike spoke blatantly, mouthing his words exaggeratedly for emphasis. There is something you should know about Rainbow Dash. She never ever backed down from a challenge, no matter how ludicrous and absurd the grounds for the challenge may be. Then it's a challenge. Rainbow Dash flew up to stand on the table boldly, and I accept. What now? Spike raised an eyebrow questioningly. Duh, huh? Snails came out of his love trance to find Rainbow Dash roaring. Wait, what's happening now? Snips repeated, still completely lost. Rainbow Dash pointed a hoof sharply at Spike's stubby dragon snout. I bet I can make you fall in love with me. If I succeed, you lose. Then I can enjoy watching you grovel at my feet in lovesickness. Spike, speechless and utterly flabbergasted, remained stock still as he stared intently into Rainbow Dash's eyes. All he saw was determination, pure, unadulterated, pristine determination. You're serious, Spike muttered stoically. Hey, yeah, I'm serious, Rainbow Dash beamed triumphantly. I'll show you as straight as an ostrich's, an arrow. Snips and Snails' eyes widened melodramatically. They saw every pony in the vicinity was now paying their unbridled attention to the dragon and the Pegasus. A few whispered to each other, already beginning to indulge in the gossip that was sure to spread throughout Ponyville like a virus. This was going to be big. They could sense it. Very big. Spike chortled and produced a wicked smile. All right, Dash, then I accept the challenge as well. And don't come crying when you end up actually falling in love with me instead. Rainbow Dash spat onto the ground in disgust. In your dreams. Spike looked down at the spit and rolled his eyes. Strike one. No spitting, my little Dashy. I knew that. Rainbow Dash bounced high in the sky and flapped her wings. Just you wait, my baby dragon. That's adorable. Rainbow Dash flew off and disappeared into the clouds. Spike, Snips, and Snails now sat at the table in yet another moment of silence. Spike was still a bit stunned at the abrupt turn of events. What had just happened? One moment Rainbow Dash had been ready to pummel a few mares, and the next she'd challenged the dragon to a love battle. Ponyville sure was a crazy place to live in. How he had survived up to that point, Spike could not figure. At that moment, though, he planned to be the victor of the loved game against Rainbow Dash. He was in love with Rarity, after all. That sweet unicorn of majesty and elegance, the lovely pony that was the very symbol of generosity and femininity, the jewel to his eye. No pony was going to get in the way between him and Rarity. No pony. Right? Okay, that's it for tonight. I'm very tired, so I'm going to bed. It's midnight. Good night. I love each and every one of you guys. Please don't forget to always be yourself. And, Vanellope signing out.